Hi, this is 10-Minute Bill with the 10MinuteBible.com. We're doing an Exegetical Outline of 1 Peter 5, 5 through 7. So the first thing we want to do is look at the text. Verse 5, it starts with a likewise, which means in the same manner or same way as something, and that would be the same way the elders humble themselves to shepherd and serve the flock. Other believers are supposed to submit themselves as well. So you younger, submit. There's a verbal proposition. It's an imperative verb. It's a biggie. To your elders, it's plural, so it's not some generic younger, honor the elder. It's you younger, submit yourselves to the elders. And then we have a de, which means and. It gets translated incorrectly as yes. All of you, being submissive to one another, be clothed or girded with humility. This is the imperative. So you have two imperatives here. And this is a participle. A lot of your translations translated it as a verbal proposition again, but it's really a subordinate participle. Subordinate to being clothed, telling you how you're supposed to do that. Then we have a reason you should do this is because God resists those who are proud, i.e. not humble, but He gives grace, and that could be enabling grace or glory grace. 1 Peter, you can see chapter 1, it's probably glory to the humble. Therefore, as a result of this paradigm that was just set up, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. And a purpose clause, this is a hina and a subjunctive. May exalt you in due time. And then we have another participle, casting all your care upon Him. And then the reason you should do that is because He cares for you. This casting all your care upon Him is in the context of humbling yourselves in this bigger context of submitting to others. One other little thing that's useful if you looked up the words is this word for girding is used of a servant's apron being put on, very similar to Jesus girding himself with a towel when He washed the disciples' feet at the Last Supper. So our bigger structure here is this imperative, coordinating conjunction, this imperative, and then the conclusion is a final three big imperatives, and everything else is going to kind of revolve around them. Okay, let's see how the outline shapes up. We start first by finding our verbal proposition. Someone should submit themselves. The ones who should do it are the younger. And the ones to whom they should submit are the elders. So that's a nice little ones who should do it and the ones to whom they should do it. Submit means to line up under the authority of. It's a military term, potasso. And it basically means you're respecting someone else's authority and lining up underneath them. Submission is not in black and white areas. That's clear obedience. It's usually in the gray areas. Then we pick up our likewise with the manner. The manner in which the younger should submit, there's our verbal proposition that we're carrying through, is with eager servanthood. And that's the theme I brought out in the previous verses about how elders are eager to serve, not eager to be lords. So they serve others willingly and eagerly. And the younger should have the same mentality. So we're going to summarize all those with the manner. This is our Roman numeral 2a, and I'll look at the 2 at the end. So it's our first point. Doesn't actually have to tie back to anything, just have to summarize what's underneath it. Then we had a coordinating conjunction, the de, from before. That's supposed to be an e. So by and large, I would tell you this is going to be manner as well. And the first thing we hunt for is a verbal proposition. Get one down here. Everyone should be clothed with humility. That's the imperative. Big verb. just like this was the imperative. It's a command. So, the ones who should be clothed with humility are all believers. And then I take these two little phrases, someone should be submissive servant, the ones to whom they should be submissive servant is one another, and I combine them into here, B2. And this is going to modify being clothed with humility. The manner of being clothed with humility is in being submissive servants of each other. If you want to put it as means, I guess that could be appropriate as well. But since I'm working off a manner nuance here as a summary to parallel this manner nuance, I opted for manner over means. And then this last phrase, my C, the reason everybody should be clothed with humility is because God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. You could have taken it back to both of them, or just the last one. It doesn't make that much difference. Okay, so the reason everyone should be clothed with humility is because God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. And one of the things that makes it difficult in submitting yourself as you think about, well, what about my reputation? What about my honor? And Peter's actually going to address that in these last two verses. First we go down, pick up our verbal proposition, which is everyone should humble themselves. Humble yourselves, therefore. The therefore tells you its result. So the result of that is you should do something. So everybody should humble themselves. The spot where you should humble, he uses a figure of speech here, is under the mighty hand of God, which is basically a figure for his authority. The purpose of doing that is that he may exalt you in due time. Hinted plus a subjunctive purpose statement. So humble, and then the purpose of humbling is that you'll get exalted in due time. Then the last phrase is one that everybody knows, and it's probably used frequently out of context. The general principle of God caring for you is true. The general principle of casting your care upon him is also true. But I bet most people miss the fact that this is in the context of humbling yourselves in submitting to other believers, submitting to elders, and you have concerns like, is it going to go okay? How's it going to turn out? Will I get protected? If I do this and I'm not really sure if it's the best thing to do, but I'm sure God will watch out for me, then you're basically casting your care upon God. So verbal proposition, one should cast all their cares upon God. And the reason you should do that is because he cares for you. These two guys get combined to give us verbal proposition. The manner of humbling oneself under God's authority, which is basically going back to here, is in casting self-concern upon the God who cares for them. So A, B, C, and D, they're going to summarize into the result of submissively serving others is that God will sustain and reward submitting believers. I crunched down a lot to get that, but it kind of matches this. I picked result because that's kind of what he's driving towards. It's going to match up, and almost can guarantee you different nuances. And I might change those at the end, which is why it says tentative. But notice the parallelism. First he addressed the elders, the eager servant shepherd, and then he addresses everybody else. The elders will get eternal glory, and God will give grace, which is also praise, glory, and honor, according to chapter 1, when he returns to faithful believers. Okay, go put it into practice. Take care.